Hey everybody, this is probably the fourth time I've done this video. Every time, not fourth, that's kind of exaggerating. The third time, this would be number 3. Because each time I do this update, something in my status changes. So I think that we are set on the changes now, and there shouldn't be one since we're going into the weekend. So I know a lot of you had messaged me when I was talking about going into the hospital, and I know a lot of you were like, "Don't go into the hospital. They can't really help you with what you need. Stay in outpatient, if anything." On Wednesday, I went for an assessment. I was completely prepared to go into the hospital because the way I was feeling, I wasn't getting better. I couldn't concentrate. So much of the reason why I had the breakdown was still there. I couldn't really focus, concentrate. I couldn't feel happy. I still had moments where I was on the verge of tears, even though I didn't actually start crying. So it was still very intense. The situation was still very intense. So I went to the assessment at one of the mental health hospitals here in Memphis, and I went for an assessment. And after the assessment, the lady who assessed me gave my information, all my information, to the psychiatrist on staff, and he reviewed it, and he said that I would be okay with intensive outpatient treatment, which means that I would go 5 days a week for 3 hours a day. And so I went to my first treatment yesterday, and during the process, I disclosed that I was a trauma survivor. Okay. And my counselor, her name's Julie, and some of you will find this funny or interesting, that she looks exactly like Susan Westenhofer. For those of you who don't know who she is a incredibly funny lesbian comedian, and one of the first ones to be openly gay during her career from the get-go. If you don't know who she is, I highly recommend you guys going on YouTube and just looking her up. She's hilarious. But anyway, so Julie pulled me aside and said, "I think that you would benefit from the trauma group." Well, unfortunately, I couldn't get into the trauma group without being bumped up in my status. So she pulled me out of group today and reassessed me and kind of went into a little bit further detail about my background and the stuff that I had experienced, and I didn't disclose about the ritual abuse. I think that just would have blown her out of the water. But I was honest about the types of sexual abuse, physical abuse, and emotional abuse, and who did it, and that was my parents and their friends. And the abuse continued until I was 11, and that's when my parents split up. But that's a whole other thing. But so I just disclosed about that, and she said, "Well, I really do think that you would benefit from partial inpatient treatment." Now, partial inpatient treatment is where I go 7 days a week, 6 hours a day, but I get to go home at night. And on Saturdays is family. On Saturdays it's family counseling. So they would, Melissa would be there with me, and for a couple of hours. And I really think that would be beneficial to her, because she's very good at sympathizing about the situation, but she can't empathize because she's never been in the situation. She's never been abused. And I know that's really hard for a lot of people to understand, that there are actually people in this world who have never been abused. And Melissa just happens to be one of them. And as much as she tries to be there for me, she doesn't fully understand. And that's why these classes, these family classes, are really good for people like that. That they may not know exactly what a person who's in treatment is going through, or what to expect. So that is the status that I am in now. I now have a psychiatrist. Don't ask me to pronounce his last name. I don't think I could on a dare. They told me twice what his name was, and I can't remember. It starts with an H. But I also discovered that depression causes memory loss, that you can't retain certain things. And intense depression causes a lot of the symptoms that I'm going through. So that's where I am right now. I think the Lexapro and the Xanax are helping stabilize. Stop it, Callie. Stabilize me for just now. We're not going to change any of the medications. The doctor doesn't want to do too many changes right off the bat, just because it would be hard on my body. So we're going to stay on definitely the Lexapro, and try to start getting off of the Xanax, because he doesn't really believe in it. It does help me sleep though, but I think I've gone on long enough. I don't know what she's doing. But anyway, I hope everybody's well, and I'll try to keep you updated through this process.